What's an unwritten rule everyone should know, but doesn't? 9 times out of 10 when I see a person try to pull out of a parking lot on a busy street, they want to cross over several lanes of traffic to get to a turning lane. Fuck these people, they can make their U-turn further down the road, they don't need to make themselves a barricade for everyone going straight. I was in line to buy textbooks at my university's bookstore 3 weeks ago and the place was packed. This wouldn't have been a problem, but unfortunately there was only single cashier. So, I spent a good half hour in line listening to the bitchy girl behind me prattle on for the full half hour to her mother on speaker. Fuck's sake. I'm a girl. And even I was kind of nervous about telling my one coworker she was bleeding. I told her anyway and she was super thankful. Thankfully we had hydrogen peroxide in the restroom and she was able to get herself cleaned up. The stuff is a lifesaver when it comes to cleaning fresh blood off clothes, coming from me, a woman and also suffers from nosebleeds. Don't touch a disabled person's mobility aids without being specifically asked to do so by the person. Wheelchair, scooter, cane, dog, walker, whatever they are using, don't touch it unless they ask you to. View it as a stranger trying to touch your legs. Do you want Rondo to pick up your leg, move your leg, pet your leg? Probably not. My mother-in-law was a polio survivor. She had one good leg, one good arm. The entire house was laid out very, very carefully. You wouldn't notice it, but she had a handhold or similar spot to brace herself. Everywhere. The unwritten rule was that you didn't move a chair, table, any piece of furniture. Mama wouldn't ever say anything, or scold, but the simple movement of chairs could cause a sweet lady to have a fall. A bunch of years ago I was drunk at a festival and met a friend who worked as a personal assistant for a woman in an electric wheelchair. Without thinking I reached out and grabbed her hand and said hello, not realizing that she could only move her fingers enough to control the wheelchair. I was assured by my friend that she didn't take it the wrong way. Most likely she was just happy that someone treated her like any random person and not a fragile object. But goddamn, the awkwardness followed me for a while after that. I really hate when people blare their own music super freaking loud at the beach or on a boat or in an otherwise really public place. If you want to listen to music at the beach or on the boat, that's totally fine, but please make it perhaps loud enough for your group to hear but maybe not loud enough for everyone within a 500-foot radius to hear. I know there's a fine line, but please at least make some attempt at finding it for your fellow human beings. Someone did this to me the other day. They were going 55 in a 65, so I decided to pass. The M-Furs sped up to 90. I didn't have time at that point to slow down and get back behind them as cars were coming, so I floored it and got around. I was furious. It was incredibly stupid and dangerous. I drive that road every day for work, and these stupid people just don't want a car to pass them. I'm not excusing this behavior, I hate it too, but I think there may be a non-asshole explanation for this at least some of the time. I have been the person getting passed and had a moment of wanting to speed up, even though I didn't. I think it stems from a moment of illogical panic when something is coming up from behind you at a faster speed. It touches on an instinct to run when being chased. I have no evidence for this other than my own anecdotal experiences, but I wonder if this is true at least some of the time. This also applies to beards. Yes, my beard is full and thick, but that is not an invitation for you to stick your dirty fingers right next to my mouth. I don't like hugs from most of my friends, so I certainly don't want your booger scrappers trying to find my chin. And if you're a female and my wife sees you, you're putting both of our safety at risk. I have golden strawberry blonde hair that is apparently quite a nice but hard to get color. I have literally never had a trip to the hairdressers where I wasn't asked if it's my natural color. When I was young and on holiday with my family, it wasn't unusual for tourists to come up and touch my hair or ask my parents to have photos with me. It was fucking uncomfortable and I hated anyone commenting on my hair for years because of it. Always start with the question, how might I be wrong? Everyone can figure out a reason to believe they're correct. But if you look for reasons you are wrong first, you will make fewer horrific assertions and mistakes. How might I be wrong is the core question of science and the start of all wisdom. I will never use those words around my coworker. She gets a sick delight in trying to show people wrong. She's always trying to educate people by telling them things they already know. When you try to explain something to her, she has an annoying response of correct, as if she's grading your homework. But you're not seeking her validation. She was hired at the same time, yet thinks she's an expert. Mistakes she make are no big deal. Sweep it under the carpet. But the same exact mistakes made by you are horrible atrocities that management must know about. Edit. It sounds nice in theory, but when you're working with people who do not have your best interest in mind, it will bite you in the ass. We're faced with the reality that we live in a world where game theory plays a major role in people's decisions and treatment of others. I was at the Natural History Museum in DC once and I asked the lady behind the counter for a map, please. She looked at me and told me I was the only adult to say please. She gave me 2 maps just for having manners. When I was like 8 months pregnant with my second, the guy at my church very cautiously asked me if he was correct in guessing I was pregnant, and it was all I could do not to laugh in his face. I had sent him 3-4 emails by this point mentioning maternity leave and due dates. I did weekly scheduling for a team he served on, plus I gained 5 pounds that pregnancy, and baby weighed 6 pounds. 10 ounces when born, so I 100% looked like I was smuggling a basketball. So I guess I would add, if a woman has told you she's pregnant, it's safe to believe her, unless she's claiming you're the father, then it varies. The keep right except to pass applies even in places where it's not written, on roads where there isn't a sign, when walking, biking, skateboarding, whatever, on sidewalks, paths in the middle of the woods. Everywhere. Related, if you're walking in a group, don't walk with so many people side by side that you block the entire path. Leave space for at least 1 or 2 people walking side by side on the other side. That accommodates people coming the other direction and individuals who want to pass you. In general, the larger the group, the slower they move. People want to pass you. Let them. Substitute left for right in countries where that's the side you drive on. Edit. Left the E off 1 and leave space for at least 1. I'm always amazed at how bad people are about this. Definitely worse in groups. If I'm walking and a group is coming the other way taking the whole pathway, I sometimes like to just keep on and plow into whoever is in my lane. Also fun to just stand still and let someone plow into me, since they're usually looking sideways and engaged in some conversation. XD. Do people not do this? I picked this up in high school whenever bus drivers would drive us for sports games or field trips. It's carried to when I studied abroad and used public transport there, and when needed here, US. I literally thank everyone for transporting me somewhere, whether it's a friend/pilot/conductor/bus driver, etc. School bus drivers were given end-of-school-year gifts in my neighborhood. Never tell someone how they could be more attractive when you don't know them or if it wasn't asked of you. I can't tell you the number of times I have seen men, always at least 10 years older, tell myself or my younger coworkers how they like it better when our hair is down, or I like you better as a blonde, etc. It once made a young 16-year-old I work with stop wearing her hair up because she was self-conscious. You'd be surprised how many customers don't even have the money in the bank account they're paying from. So many people have to get on their phone to transfer it from a different account. Meanwhile 3 different customers are behind them waiting. Worst part about it is the same customers do it every time, and they're oblivious to their effect on the people around them. If you see a musician and you request something, please, for the love of all that is good in the world, tip them. Yes, we love music, but it's still a job that we don't get paid enough, if at all, for. Especially now during the pandemic, businesses took this as an excuse to pay us even less. So please give your local dickhead with a guitar even $1. If you don't know someone's boundaries, It's okay to ask. Asking "are you okay if I talk about underscore or can we do underscore" is a huge green flag, and it makes it so there's no guessing game. For example, if you want to talk about something sexual and this is a person you don't know very well and haven't talked about it with before and you have no idea if they'll be comfortable with it, asking if they're okay with it is a great way to know. I love when people ask about my boundaries. It implies to me it shows they care about my feelings and my needs. You are always and completely entitled to say number, whenever, wherever and for whatever reason. Trust your body and mind. If it feels iffy or creepy, run. I'm not joking. Your body will scream at you to run if something feels off. This is the ultimate time you must listen to your instinct. Always be ready to walk away. Always let someone know where you are and who you're with, especially when you feel ridiculous for doing so. This is when it's most important. It's just 1 decimeter. Text, IG, email, no matter what, it may save your life. Use the MF and turn signals. They are there to alert others of your intentions. They were included in the price of your vehicle and you will not wear them out by using them. Also, never apply fragrance prior to boarding a flight. You will make other passengers puke or induce migraine. Save that shit for another time. The wording made me think you were saying that you should be the asshole. But I get it. You're saying you should assume everyone considers you to be the asshole in their way. So pay attention to your surroundings and get the heck out of their way. Right? I live by that principle. Get the heck out of my way, and I'll do my very best to stay the heck out of your way. Person in the middle seat on an airplane gets both armrests. On my recent flights I was middle seat and had 0 armrests. They were taken by the window and aisle mates. I wanted to explain this little point of etiquette to them. Another airplane one, if you see a parent and child who can't sit together and you have a way of letting them sit together, speak up and offer. For example, if you realize that you have a kid preparing to sit next to you by himself while the mom is continuing down the aisle to a seat in another part of the plane, offer to switch with the mom so that they stay together. When I was little I loved being separated from my parents on the plane because I felt grown up traveling in my own seat, but even so, it's just polite. It's always weird for adults to stay seated together when a mom and a 4-year-old are being separated. I don't know if this is widespread or it's just my neuroticism, but if someone's in your way and they're not relative, don't push them or even touch them. My brother mentioned he guided his friend out of his way by lightly pushing him, and I've had people touch my back or arm to indicate they want me to move, and it was never pleasant. Far worse is the thought of touching someone else without their permission, especially when I'm effectively saying, "Move it, asshole." Makes me shudder. Yeah, context is key here. If I'm working my way up to the rail at a concert, it's a small tap. Then maybe a gentle nudge. Then if no better path, a more firm nudge. I just assume, from my position on the receiving side, the first tap, nudges someone bumping into me while dancing or whatever. That firm "hey man I want by" is my clue to move if I can, or give that "no room for you bud" shrug. If I am just minding my business at the store or something, unless I dropped something, don't touch me. Find your own way past or wait, if you're in a hurry. Well, I think that is contextual as well. Impatient, fuck off. Pet dying, push me over the railing and good luck to your little fuzzy body. What's the cut-off for time though? Since posts get archived and then no one else can add a story, I lurk and binge read anytime someone asks about creepy encounters, and even though variations get asked a lot, it gives new people a chance to respond when other posts are locked. Yet there is always someone in the comments complaining like the op is the only one reading them. At least try to solve your own problem or answer your own question before asking friends, family for help. I work in tech, so all my friends and family come to me seeking technical help on this, that or the other. Something isn't working right, they immediately text or call me for help. 90% of the time this results in me Googling their question and relaying the answer to them. Either the question is easy, you can find your own answer, or it's difficult, in which case the person will be grateful that you did initial research and at least tried to answer it yourself. You say the word no when doing something is inappropriate. This apparently confuses the younger generation who put all the onus on reading their mind, determining appropriateness, and deciding for them on the other person, who is somehow an utter tyrant and a complete asshole for asking for something they can just say no to. Just say no, you passive-aggressive assholes. Don't date a friend's ex without checking with them first. My older sisters taught me this, and my best friend was very confused when I told them I asked our friend before going out with her ex-partner. They're an only child, saw no one to teach them that common decency. I was so baffled that they didn't think it was necessary. Also, don't kiss people your friends have a crush on. Also learned the hard way that they didn't know that either. If you can see your school bus coming down the road, please, for the love of all that is good, make a move toward it. Don't wait until it is completely stopped to dance around, hug your mom, pet the dog, take a picture, dance some more, then proceed down your 700-foot driveway. You know it's your bus. You know it's going to stop and you're going to have to get on it. Moms, please make sure they do. It's difficult to wait through 20 bus stops where kids do this and results in ending up late. Workers, I actually try to leave my house and get in front of the buses, or I'll be a solid 45 minutes late. Now I'm just half an hour early. No win there either. I don't know if it counts as a rule or just a cool fact, but if you're walking in a crowd, if you look straight ahead and maintain eye contact straight ahead, looking those in your way in the eyes, people in your path will 85% of the time move out of your way, even in a crowded street. It's been a great rule for me that I follow and serves me well. To add to your first one, the deceleration ramp is named that way for a reason. You're not being safer by dropping from 75 miles per hour to 55 miles per hour before you pull off onto it. In most cases, you're going to have plenty of ramp to slow down on, and you won't be plugging up the interstate either. And before I get inundated with, well, the ramp I take is super short, obviously if it's physically impossible to slow down using only the ramp, then you've got to work with what you have. Agreed, but also, I find it super annoying when the deceleration ramp is also the acceleration ramp. Like when I'm trying to exit at ramp 4C and the folks from 4B are entering the freeway, and we both have like 200 yards to make that little switcheroo. Sometimes you have to brake somewhere, and ducking in behind the accelerating car is better than trying to get in front of him and then hitting the brake. But in the vast majority of situations, braking on the freeway is uncalled for and an invitation to causing an accident. Well, for one thing, driver's school is not required in many places, so even if it is taught, there's a whole lot of folks out there who simply took, and passed, the driver test without any formal schooling. Also, I blame cruise control. Too many times I see folks sliding up the brake lights on the freeway, but they aren't really stopping. They're just using the brakes to turn off cruise control. I see brake lights, 3 cars in front of me, then 2 cars in front, then 1 car in front of me. My natural reaction is to hit the brake, but we're not really stopping, we're just gradually slowing down. Could have just hit that button on your steering wheel to turn off cruise control without causing a panic brake by the folks behind you. Cruise control and tailgating is a dangerous combination. Don't call out of nowhere. Schedule a call with me at least 24 hours before said call. I need that time, and probably longer, to overanalyze what we're going to talk about and panic myself into tears. Only exception to this is if you're dying, but then again I don't know any medical advice besides go to the hospital, so I'm quite useless. Call someone else, you're more likely to survive. Thank you kindly. If someone says something to you about themselves, regardless of whether or not it's a big deal, you don't need to tell anyone else unless it's brought up. I told this girl I was born in London when she asked, and within 5 minutes of walking into class I was being accused of being a liar. BC, and I quote, "A little birdie told us you were from London. Where's the accent?" Funnily enough, I do have a British accent, but I avoid using it. BC, I don't like how many people ask me questions about it.